Poverty around the world and the Dominican Republic. I chose to focus on the Dominican Republic not only because it is one of the poorest countries in the world, but because I am traveling there over spring break to go on a mission trip. What does world poverty look like? 1 billion children live in poverty. That's about 1 in 2 children in the world. 640 million people live without adequate shelter, 400 million people have no access to safe water, and 270 million have no access to health services. All of those are compared in the graph in the lower right-hand corner. And 10.6 million people died in 2003 before they reached the age of 5, or roughly 29,000 children per day. What is poverty and how many people are suffering from it? Poverty is a state of being poor. For example, if you live on $1.25 per day, you are considered living in poverty. A study in 2005 showed 1.4 billion people lived on or below $1.25. At least 80% of the human population lives on less than $10 a day. Almost half the world is living in poverty. At the beginning of the 21st century, nearly 1 billion people were illiterate and could not sign their name. Being illiterate is not helpful because it means you are uneducated, causing you to work for low amounts of money. What causes poverty around the world? There is always poverty whether it is a wealthy country or a poor country. Social inequality leads to an increase in problems like violence and crime and creates major gaps between the rich and the poor that develops and widens over time. A pattern and history of bad governing and lack of individual initiative and responsibility are other causes of poverty around the world. The effects of poverty? The poor population suffers from little health care, which causes disease to be more common, no education, no food, little benefit from political and economical policies, because the wealthier population benefits more from the policies than the poor, no voice in public debates, because it makes it harder to escape poverty. No help is being provided for this crisis, because the world spends its money on the military, financial bailouts, and other areas that benefit the wealthy population. All of these effects create a cycle, causing poverty to become a way of life that is hard to escape from. These children starve, face deadly diseases, and live in shacks for most of their lives. Around 21,000 children die every day around the world due to poverty. That is the same as 1 child dying every 4 seconds, 14 children dying every minute, the 2010 Haiti earthquake occurring every 10 days, and about 92 million children dying between 2000 and 2010. What does poverty look like in the Dominican Republic? The Dominican Republic suffers from poverty, with 83.3% of the population living below the poverty line. The wealth distribution is uneven. The richest 10% gets nearly 40% of national income. As you can see in the map in the lower right-hand corner, it shows the Dominican Republic in relation to the United States. The Dominican Republic is only 829 miles south of Florida. Who are the country's poor people and where do they live? Most of the people living in poverty live in the rural areas, as opposed to urban areas. The poorest people are Dominicans of Haitian origin that live along the border of the island. The Dominican Republic shows the island with the country Haiti, which is poorer than the Dominican Republic. Dominicans of Haitian origin suffer from low incomes, social exclusion, poor living conditions, and no benefit from most types of social assistance programs. This is because 20% of the children that are born in the Dominican Republic do not receive birth certificates or identity papers. Why is the Dominican Republic poor? Agricultural production is low. Government investment in social and productive development in rural areas is limited. Natural crises, like hurricanes and tropical storms that are reoccurring, threaten the rural population. Poor Dominican farmers struggle to maintain their families because of their little amounts of land and their production is too low. What are causes of the Dominican Republic being poor? lack of access to resources that would help farmers to improve their production and incomes. How are Dominican Republic families affected by poverty? Over 578,000 children under the age of 15 are without parental care. Around 20% of them are orphans. 3 reasons why parents abandon children are: the parents don't have enough money or food to provide for their children, the parent gets a prison sentence, or the parent has a mental or physical disability. Most children who live in rural areas do not go to school because they do not have easy access to one. Many families encourage their children to drop out of school and work full time so as to increase household finances. More than 40% of Dominican children are uneducated. Some families become so desperate for money that they make their child participate in child labor and sex trafficking. Is there any hope? Solutions to poverty. There are 3 that we can take. We can improve health through safe water and sanitation, preventative health care, and improved nutrition. We can also improve respect for rights through empowerment of women, children, and other vulnerable groups. And we can also improve skills through adult literacy circles and other job training. These are all of my sources that I used.